Hello everyone and welcome back to NFL Hard Count. We continue our UFL Mini-Movie Series with a team that has a whole lot of swagger and the heart to back it up. I'm talking about the Houston Roughnecks. The UFL's Houston Roughnecks, formerly known as the Gamblers, are a testament to the evolving landscape of American professional football. Their inception, development, merger, and operation with the United Football League offer a fascinating case study on the dynamics of launching a new sports franchise in a modern era. Today, we're going to delve into the detailed history of the Houston Roughnecks, highlighting their formation, branding, challenges, and achievements, as well as one hell of a start to their 2024 season. Today, we highlight the Houston Roughnecks.
And to the left to Kirkland. Roughnecks do it again. Third catch of the opening drive. How did he do it?
So this video is going to be an interesting and unique one. Since Houston has two spring football teams, we're going to talk about both of them in this video. Houston, with its rich football history and passionate fan base, was a natural choice for one of the 8 inaugural teams for both the XFL and USFL. So let's talk about that rich history of Houston football for a minute. I think saying that football in Houston is quote-unquote huge would be the biggest understatement of the year. Football is a part of everyday life in the Houston area. Fans go out in the thousands to watch North Shore or Summer Creek High School football games to start off their fall weekends. Not to mention some Rice, Houston Cougars, Houston Baptist, or Texas Southern games. Football runs strong in the Houston community. So it was a tough day in 1996 when their pride and joy, Houston Oilers, moved away from Houston to Tennessee. Houston Oilers owner Bud Adams had a tough decision to make. Either convince the mayor of Houston, Bob Lanier, and local city council to help build a new stadium for the Oilers and other major sports teams, or move his franchise to another city, where he would have more favorable support for his team. Adams' demands for a new stadium were met with some pretty strong resistance from the city of Houston and Harris County officials. The local government was hesitant to allocate public funds for stadium construction, especially in the face of other pressing civic needs. The negotiations between Adams, the city of Houston, and Harris County became increasingly contentious, with Adams threatening to relocate the team if his demands weren't met. So, Bud Adams said screw it and moved the Houston Oilers to Tennessee, and Houston would get awarded a brand new NFL franchise just a few years later. But this very quick summary of what happened to the Houston Oilers does not do this incredible story justice. Let me know in the comments section below if you want to see a video of the real story behind the Houston Oilers franchise. I want to hear from all you Houston fans out there. Don't forget to like and comment this video as well. So back to the Houston Roughnecks and how they got started. Actually, no, wait, before we talk about the current day Houston UFL team, I think we got to talk about the good old 1980s version of the Houston USFL team, right? Yeah, let's talk about the Houston Gamblers real quick. The Houston Gamblers were established in the United States Football League in 1983 and played for 2 seasons in Houston until the USFL folded in 1986. But during the 1984 and 1985 seasons, the Houston Gamblers were an absolute sight to see. And it sure as hell helps when you have Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly leading your offense. Yeah, that's right. Buffalo Bills legend Jim Kelly decided to play for the USFL, coming out of college at the U of Miami instead of playing for Buffalo when they picked him at number 14 overall in the NFL draft. That was a huge deal back then, and it's still talked about today around the football world. Just imagine someone like Caleb Williams saying, "Hey, NFL, I've decided to shake up the football world and play for the Houston Roughnecks. I don't want to play for Chicago, so I'm going to play for the Roughnecks instead." Best of luck to you guys. I think a move like that in today's world would be unprecedented and would leave the sports guys like Stephen A. and Uncle Shay Shay from ESPN's First Take talking for weeks.
What?
But the Houston Gamblers and the USFL profited from Jim Kelly's decision, and the level of play for Houston's offense was impressive. So impressive that the run-and-shoot offense, or at least a variation of it, still exists in the game today. Did you know that the Houston Gamblers were the first team ever to implement a no-huddle offense? Yep, that's right. The K-Gun was a shotgun no-huddle formation which allowed Jim Kelly to slice and dice the secondary in last-minute drive scenarios. It was so effective that the K-Gun was used in Buffalo when the Houston Gamblers were discontinued in 1986. The Houston Gamblers had some really good players back in the 80s. Who could forget their slot receiver Ricky Sanders, who ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins, or left tackle Rob Taylor, who ended up playing for 8 seasons and 110 games in the NFL for the Tampa Bay Bucks after playing for Houston, or better yet, left guard Scott Boucher. who decided to stay in Houston and play for the Oilers after the USFL folded. These star players gave the Houston Gamblers back-to-back winning seasons and some pretty fun offenses to watch. Unfortunately, the first version of the Houston Gamblers lasted only 2 years and was disbanded along with the entire USFL after the 1985 season. But the offense they perfected stayed around for quite a while after the league ended. The run-and-shoot offense evolved the NFL playbook from a standard offensive formation with little to no movement before the ball was snapped to an offensive system where receivers moved in motion, multiple pre-snap shifts, and quick adjustments from the original passing routes called in the huddle in response to defensive schemes shown by the defense. It confused the hell out of defensive backs and made for some explosive plays for quarterbacks who played on teams who used the run-and-shoot offense. Players like Warren Moon for the Houston Oilers, Rodney Peete for the Detroit Lions, and, of course, Jim Kelly. The run-and-shoot offense was a thing of beauty to watch, and coaches like Darryl Mouse Davis and Jerry Glanville perfected it. The Houston Gamblers offense was ahead of its time and can still be seen in some variation of the Kansas City Chiefs offense almost 40 years later. But now let's fast forward to the year 2022, and the Houston Gamblers are back in business in the USFL, but with a 21st century spin to their franchise. Radio and sports TV personality Colin Cowherd delivered the news that Houston would be getting their Gamblers team back in the new USFL. And just a few months later, they announced that Kevin Sumlin would be their general manager and head coach. Sumlin is a career college coach with an offensive background and decent eye for identifying young college talent. His college record at Arizona wasn't impressive, and unfortunately for the Gamblers, the same lack of success carried over to their first season in the league, ending the season with a 3-7 record. But I guess the Houston fans didn't have to witness the team's struggles in person since all of the USFL games were played in either Birmingham, Alabama or Memphis, Tennessee. That's right, if you didn't know this already, every team, regardless of what their home city was, played their home and away games in Birmingham or Memphis. In order to minimize costs, every team, including players and staff, lived and worked out of those two cities. The 2023 season was another mediocre season for the Gamblers under new coach Robert Morris, but the team showed signs of life during their 4-game winning streak, which included a 41-16 thumping of the Philadelphia Stars. But they ended the season with a 5-5 record and were left with more questions than answers. But this season brings new hope for the Houston fans, along with a new name for their football team. While the Houston Gamblers didn't see much success in the 21st century version of the USFL, their counterparts over in the XFL sure had a better team. On December 5th, 2018, Vince McMahon and the XFL leadership decided to make Houston one of their 8 cities for the newly formed XFL Spring League. The Roughnecks kicked off their first season in February of 2020, playing their home games at TDECU Stadium on the campus of the University of Houston. For those of you wondering what the heck is TDECU, it's the Texas Dow Employees Credit Union, which is the largest credit union in Houston. Under the leadership of head coach June Jones, a veteran with extensive experience in both the NFL and Canadian Football League, the Roughnecks quickly established themselves as one of the league's standout teams. Their inaugural season was nothing short of remarkable. Under head coach June Jones and during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Houston Roughnecks finished their partial season with a 5-0 record and were clearly on track to win their first XFL championship. The Roughnecks dominated the league and were the only undefeated team in the XFL, and the team's success was largely attributed to their explosive offense, led by quarterback PJ Walker, who became one of the league's most exciting players to watch. Walker's dynamic playmaking ability, combined with Jones's innovative coaching, made the Roughnecks a formidable force and a fan favorite. The league's decision to cancel the remainder of the 2020 season had profound implications, not only for the financial stability of the XFL, but also for the momentum and growth of the Roughnecks franchise. During this 2020 version of the Houston Roughnecks, they encountered some legal issues with the NFL over their logo. Not to get too much into the boring legal stuff, but the bottom line is that the NFL felt that the Houston Roughnecks logo looked too similar to the old Houston Oilers logo and felt it violated their trademark. But the Roughnecks didn't stop there. The backup logo looked too similar to the New England Patriots logo, and the NFL filed some court stuff for that logo as well, which basically meant that the Houston Roughnecks needed to cease using the logo for all of their merchandise. In a surprising turn of events, the XFL filed for bankruptcy in April 2020, casting doubt on the future future of the league and its teams. However, in August 2020, a group led by actor and former wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Danny Garcia, and Redbird Capital Partners acquired the XFL, offering a lifeline for the Roughnecks and their counterparts. This new ownership promised to relaunch the league with a focus on player care, fan engagement, and a sustainable business model, aiming for a return in the spring of 2022. For the 2023 season, the Houston Roughnecks had new ownership, a new coach, a new logo, and pretty much a whole new brand to dominate the XFL. And Wade Phillips had their team humming during the regular season, finishing the season with a 7-3 record and an average home attendance just north of 11,000 fans. Former Troy University and Seattle Sea Dragons quarterback Brandon Silvers threw for 13 touchdowns, 1,551 yards, and 9 picks for Houston. His favorite target was wide receiver Deontay Burnett, making 27 catches for 378 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Roughnecks, though, would unfortunately lose in the first round of the XFL playoffs to the eventual XFL champions, the Arlington Renegades, 26-11. The offense was stuffed all game and couldn't produce any points against the Renegades defense. At the end of the 2023 season, the XFL decided to merge with the USFL to form the current United Football League. With this merger came the biggest question for Houston fans: who would prevail as the franchise, the Gamblers or the Roughnecks? Ultimately, the new UFL owners, Dwayne Johnson and Alpha Entertainment, decided to rebrand the new UFL team as the Houston Roughnecks. Now that the 2024 season is in full swing, the new head coach, Curtis Jackson, has a lot of work to do. But the Houston Roughnecks uniforms look good, they have a fan base that supports them, and for all of those hardcore Gamblers fans, they can finally watch their team at TDECU Stadium. The Roughnecks have a good leader at quarterback in Jarrett Garantano, and should be able to produce some points for the offense. With a collegiate career spanning Tennessee and Washington State, and professional stints with the Cardinals and Broncos, Garantano adds depth and NFL experience to the team. His college achievements include 6,174 passing yards and 38 touchdowns. His journey from the USFL's Houston Gamblers to the Roughnecks showcases his adaptability and skill on the offensive side of the ball. And he should get some help from the backfield and running back Mark Thompson, who carried over from the Houston Gamblers. Thompson rushed for 655 yards on 135 carries for the Gamblers in the 2023 season, and hopes to have similar success in the 2024 season. Former Alabama standout and NFL first-rounder Reuben Foster should be able to keep the defense organized and on assignment, as long as he stays healthy and free from injury. The Houston Gamblers, now the Houston Roughnecks, should be a good team to root for, regardless if you are a Houston fan or not. Their franchise story is a unique one. From Hall of Famer Jim Kelly to highlight reel PJ Walker to the new franchise look with the Gamblers Roughnecks merger. Their story is an exciting one if you're a football fan. Hopefully, they can produce some more great memories for the city of Houston. The Houston Roughnecks stand as a pivotal example of how a professional football franchise can start, grow, and overcome adversity. Their story is one of determination, community connection, and the relentless pursuit of excellence on and off the field. The Roughnecks have not only provided a platform for talented players to showcase their abilities, but have also reinvigorated the local sports landscape, offering the fans an exciting and distinctive brand of Houston football. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you liked the video. We'll see you next time.